that has just been issued for eastern parts of Boone County. We're watching rotation that has been tightening north of Hallsville to the south of Sturgeon to the west of Centralia, where we have the reds and the greens together. This is an environment that is not necessarily conducive for long-lived rotations, but this is an environment that we're watching that has the potential to produce a quick spin-up that we're watching very closely at this particular moment. So between Centralia, Hallsville, and Highway D is where we're watching this. Noah, if you could switch over and get the warning information up here. I didn't get a chance to look at how long this goes till. I would imagine it probably goes till about 9:45 or so. This does not include Columbia, but this does include northeast parts of Boone County. So that's what we're watching very closely here, as well as multiple severe thunderstorm warnings that are in effect for a good chunk of the viewing area as well. So a good amount of weather happening here at this moment. Again, what we're watching with this storm is the potential for 60 to 70 mile per hour wind gusts, as well as some radar indicated rotation within the line to the north of Hallsville. Let me step off here, and I'm going to put a track on this storm just so that we can get an idea of where exactly this is headed. This storm is going to be moving to the southeast at about 30 miles per hour. So with this, we're going to take a track right here of the rotation where we see it and draw it through the edge of the warning. Now, this stuff is typically very, very short-lived. If we see a tornado form, it would likely happen very, very quickly. So that's why the National Weather Service did not extend this into Audrain County. They may at a later time, but what we're watching with this is the rotation that is moving to the southeast. So Hallsville, 927, Youngers at 941, again, moving through a fairly rural part of Boone County, but of course, this is our most populated county that we're watching, and where we have this red and this green together, that is where we have the potential for some radar-indicated rotation. I was also looking at the text of this warning, and it's for hail smaller than quarters. So hail is not the primary problem with the bulk of these storms now. That is good news. That's a transition away from what we were looking at earlier. Earlier today in northern Missouri, we saw hail up to the size of softballs. As they got closer to Macon-Moberly, we saw hail potentially up to the size of anywhere from quarters to maybe golf balls. Well, now it's down to the size of about nickels. So we're moving in the right direction here. But the reason we're on the air right now on KOMU 8 is we're covering this tornado warning that is in effect for areas north of Hallsville along North Route V to the east of Highway 63 here is where we're watching this potential rotation. Again, north of Hallsville. The good news is it looks like in the latest scan or two, this has become a little more broad. So it is certainly moving in the right direction. Look at the bigger picture here for those of us that may be joining us. If we could switch to the reflectivity. We're watching storms from about Boone County stretching into northern parts of Howard County, into Saline County, into parts of Sheraton County as well. Of course, we were on the air earlier for a quick storm that was warned in Sheraton County. Now what we're watching is as these storms continue to push to the southeast, they do have a history of producing a little bit of rotation, and with those rotations, we are seeing a bit of a spin-up. The National Weather Service is extending a severe thunderstorm warning with the leading edge of this line. So let me get the latest information for you. This new severe thunderstorm warning is going to include the city of Columbia. It's going to include Fulton, Avaz, and Mexico as well. So a lot that we are watching here. We're getting a lot of our populated cities to really be in this now. So what we're watching with this new severe thunderstorm warning is eastern Boone County, southwestern Audrain County, and Callaway County. A tornado warning is in effect until 10:15. A severe thunderstorm continues to move to the southeast. What they're concerned about within the leading edge of this line, 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts. Hail, again, is not the primary threat that we're watching here. So this is pushing to the southeast. What we are watching as the primary threat is some rotation. We've got inbound and outbound velocities. So green is moving towards the radar. Red is moving away. And what we are looking at here is a storm that is rotating. It could potentially produce a tornado. So at this time, if you are in Hallsville, this is the moment to get to the lowest level of your home, get in an interior room away from windows. I want you to put as many walls between you and the outside of the storm. You want those layers and those cushions of protection to keep you safe. As we put this storm track into motion, if this continues to hold together with rotation, and history tells us with a lot of these storms tonight, we're probably not going to see the storms hold together with that much rotation for very long. But if this storm bucks that trend, it would be near Murray at 9:35, Youngers at 9:37, Hereford at 9:44, Eastville at 9:51, and nearing Kingdom City at 9:57. So this is going to be moving into parts of Callaway County here pretty shortly. But Hallsville, this is the circulation right over you. If we could zoom in really close to the city of Hallsville here, this is State Route 124. Again, this is East Highway 00 and State Road 124, Highway 124. Where we have this is a clear sign of rotation. So Hallsville, folks, I need you to take action right now. It is much, much better to get to that low-level interior room away from windows and be safe and not have a tornado happen than one to drop and be sorry for it later. So it's best that we take action to protect life, to protect property at this moment. If you are headed to the basement, it is always a good idea to bring sturdy shoes with you. With those sturdy shoes, if you ever have to walk through any kind of damage, that will protect your feet. You don't want to do that over bare feet. So Hallsville, again, this is the time to be in your safe location. If we could move this map, Noah, to the southeast so we can get, zoom back in, but let's put Hallsville here in the northwest corner. Perfect. Zoom in just a little bit more, hoping to get, there we go. So as this moves to the southeast, Youngers is the next big city that's popping up here on the map. Hereford is right here on the bottom of your screen, and we have multiple state highways here that are showing us where the path of this is. Let's put the track here. It's again moving to the southeast about 30 miles an hour, near Murray at 9:36, Hatton at 9:48. So if this continues to show rotation, it's going to be moving to the southeast. So that's what we're watching at this particular moment. We're continuing to monitor reports that are coming in with this storm, and we do have a report of some power outages in northeastern parts of Boone County. So that's not necessarily uncommon. That's not necessarily a sign of anything nefarious going on. It's simply a line of storms is moving through that has the capability of 40, 50, 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. With that, you're bound to see some power outages. So folks in the newsroom, if we want to start checking some numbers on that we can bring viewers on KOMU 8 News at 10, that would be fantastic. Noah, if we could switch over to the correlation coefficient just to make sure that we're not seeing a drop here. And I'm not seeing anything too concerning with that at this point. But we'll continue to watch this as we are now looking at the rotation east of Hallsville. So this is starting to move to the east side of Hallsville. It's east of State Highway 124. So this threat is going to be moving. Of course, that's how weather works. It's moving. So nearing Youngers as we continue to track it to the east. This is south of Centralia. Centralia, you can come out of your safe locations if you've decided to seek shelter. This tornado threat no longer includes you. Looks like if we could we actually turn off the radar and just look at the warning. In the bottom panel, you can just turn off the sweeping radar. Perfect. And here we go with an update on the warning. The National Weather Service on the same page that I am, trimming that warning down a little bit, taking Centralia out of it. So Centralia, Sturgeon, you are fine to come out of your safe locations at this point. Hallsville, I want you to stay there for just a little bit longer. If we can zoom in, make this a little bit bigger, and get a few more things to pop up here as this is moving to the east. We are getting more reports of power outages coming in Boone and Audrain County with these thunderstorms, so we'll continue to monitor those. This is Highway 9 and East Highway 00, where we have the core of this rotation moving through now. Again, this is a pretty well-defined couplet, all things considered, probably the most well-defined that we've seen through the night. So, Hallsville folks, this is the time to seek shelter. What we're looking at here is the correlation coefficient. And what we'd be looking for is lots of green and lots of blue showing up if we were getting any signs of debris, which we're not getting at this moment. That's a good thing. We want to keep it that way. Continuing to monitor the latest coming in from the National Weather Service. They're talking about the storm as a whole, kind of the bigger picture, producing wind gusts capable of up to 70 miles per hour. And with those storms, we are going to watch that potential. The outflow boundary is quickly approaching Columbia, so that's the wind being pushed out ahead of the storm. And that is just simply a sign that things might get a little more windy within the city of Columbia here in the next couple of minutes. The National Weather Service now issuing a new tornado warning as this tracks to the southeast. We have a new tornado warning for Audrain and Callaway County. This is going to go until 10:15. A severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located near Murray, moving southeast at 35 miles per hour. This continues to be for radar-indicated rotation and for hail smaller than quarters. So hail is no longer a primary concern with these storms that we're watching. These storms are pushing to the southeast, so if we could zoom out a little bit and just kind of get a bigger picture of where this tornado warning is and kind of draw the track to encompass much of the tornado warning. But Avaz, Fulton, Central Callaway County folks, this is the time to act. Start gathering the kids if you've put them to bed already. Make sure you have the sturdy shoes. And let's go ahead and get to the basement, the lowest level of your home and interior room. You've got some time to get there. You don't need to get there in a minute or two, but let's go ahead, let's move in that direction. If you have friends or family in the path of this, again, this is moving from parts of eastern Boone County into parts of central Callaway County. Let's start taking those actions. Let's get folks where they need to be. So Hatton, 942. Eastville at 9:48, Fulton at 10:07, Toledo at 10:16, and continuing to near that Fulton Medical Center around 10 o'clock. So that's what we are continuing to watch for here as we see new updates coming in. Hallsville folks, this does still include you. We're going to continue to stay on top of this storm as we watch a new tornado warning that has been issued. So Avaz, Calwood, Fulton, along Highway 54 in central Callaway County, let's go ahead. Let's take those tornado precautions. The rotation continues to stay pretty well together. Eventually, what I think we'll start to see is these will become more separated. That would be an indication that the tornado, or the potential rotation, I should say, has become more broad. When that happens, that's the good sign. That's what we want to see. That's what we're going to eventually see with this storm. But as of this particular moment, we do continue to see a pretty well-defined rotation here, considering that this storm is being seen from the different radars at a pretty high elevation. And now that this storm is moving to the east of Hallsville, it's getting closer to Youngers. Youngers along the Highway D and North Route Z near Murray as well. Let's get you to your safe locations. This is not the same story for you all as it is for Fulton. Fulton, you've got some time. Take 5-10 minutes to get to your safe location. Yonkers and Murray, you need to be there 5 minutes ago. So if you're not there now, let's go ahead and get you there. Avaz, down to Fulton. Let's get you prepared to move to that safe spot and go ahead and get there as well. This storm is showing signs of rotation. The National Weather Service expressing more confidence in it by extending this so far into central Callaway County. And with that, we are seeing the potential for this to be more of a storm of concern that we're going to continue to monitor. So the National Weather Service in their latest updates has continued the tornado warning near Hallsville, and then they've extended a new tornado warning into Callaway County. That's from Avaz to Fulton that we continue to monitor. And not just for Callaway County, for southern Audrain County as well, that we're looking at here with the county line. With this storm, the rotation continues to be fairly tight. And Noah, if we could just kind of scrub the top of the loop here and just kind of slowly take us through the rotation history of this storm, I would be very interested to see it. If you could, I'll come back here. So if you freeze frame it, and then what we're going to do is we're just going to slowly pull this back a little bit just to kind of get an idea. And the rotation has been very consistent. There are some signs there that maybe this is just looking a little bit more broad, but again, this is still a pretty tight-knit circulation that we're watching here. Recently, the National Weather Service did extend the tornado watch to include more of mid-Missouri. This tornado watch, or this severe thunderstorm watch, goes until 1 a.m. And this is a great example of how even in a severe thunderstorm watch, you can get storms that produce a tornado. It's not the main threat. It's not a particularly high threat even, but the potential is there. And that's what we're watching with these storms. As we continue to monitor the information that's coming in. A lot of lightning being seen in Mexico. If we look at the rotation, again, here's Hallsville now. Hallsville, folks, you are definitely looking at being in the clear. Youngers, you need to stay in your safe location at this point in time. But if you were watching us from Hallsville, you can go ahead, come out of your safe location. If you have any reports of damage to pass along, you can send those to us. You can send them to us on social media at KOMU News or at KOMU Matt. You can also send us those photos, any videos to news@komu.com. Our team in the newsroom will be reviewing those and getting those to us as we have them. You can send them to me, beckwithm@missouri.edu, but since I'm here, I may not be able to see them until after the fact. Here's the latest track of that rotation, kind of narrowly looking at the swath of the rotation and where it's headed currently. Hereford at 9:46, Eastville at 9:54, Callaway 10:04, Fulton at 10:11. So if the rotation stays strong and continues to move in this exact direction, this could be moving towards the city of Fulton that we're going to be watching very closely here. So again, that's why we're on the air right now, covering this storm very closely. Noah, if we could zoom out and kind of show folks the bigger picture, I would love to turn on the lightning just briefly to talk about how electric these storms are. There is a lot of lightning associated with these storms that are moving through. We do have a report of some trees down in Hallsville, potentially falling onto some objects that we continue to monitor. Emergency crews responding in parts of Callaway or of parts of Boone County in Hallsville at this moment, but a report of some trees down. We're going to let the emergency officials respond and get us any information there yet. We continue to get a report in of the sirens not sounding yet in Callaway County. So that's another important message. We should never, ever, ever rely on tornado sirens to get weather information. We have so many tools at our disposal and so many better ways to get information. So first, Outdoor warning sirens are only meant to warn people that are outdoors. They do not cover every single area. Some counties have to sound them for just a sliver of the county being in a tornado warning. Some counties sound them for very large hail and for very destructive winds. Some counties only sound them for tornado warnings. Some counties sound them for spotter reports. Some of them do not. So there is a wide variety of criteria. There's no mandate by the state as to what a siren is sounded for. It's not a great way to get information. It's helpful if you're outside and not paying attention, but if you are in your home, a NOAA weather radio, as well as apps on your phone, the WIA alerts, wireless emergency alerts, are going to be much, much, much more helpful in terms of the latest information. And you can download the KOMU 8 First Alert Weather app as well. You want multiple ways to get the latest information. This storm continues to move to the southeast near Millersburg at 9:49, Avaz at 9:52. And what we're watching here, Noah, is this a track of just the small part of the storm, or is this the whole line?
This is the severe thunderstorm and the tornado warning that busted.
Cool. So this is a bigger chunk. This includes that potential for 60 to 70 mile per hour winds. Moving near Millersburg at 9:49, Avaz at 9:52, McCready 9:56, Callaway at 9:58, Fulton at 10:03, Hams Prairie at 10:13, Reform at 10:21, and Brownsford at 10:23. These storms are ones that we continue to watch. There are reports of power outages in Audrain and Boone County, typical of when strong to severe thunderstorms move in. It looks like the rotation with this storm is now crossing into Callaway County. So folks in Hallsville, again, I want to give you the all clear. This tornado threat has ended in Hallsville. It continues right now near Hereford and Youngers and Eastville. This is the time to act. Let's get Concord into your safe location as well, because this is the rotation that we're watching so closely. McCready, Callaway, Hereford, and Youngers are all looking at this rotation, which, looking in the latest update, perhaps becoming a little more broad. Let's look for that to continue. That's kind of the path of the storms have been taking tonight, is weakening a little bit. But overall, within the grand scheme of things and the grand chunk of the line, the potential for 60 to 70 mile per hour wind gusts that we're tracking here. We are continuing to watch the storms pushing off to the southeast. A report of a tree down in Hallsville, another report coming in. So a couple of different reports here that have come into us that we continue to watch. With the rotation, there is a little tiny bit of a drop here co-located with the area of velocity. I don't think that's a debris signature, but let's keep an eye on that. Certainly, this storm produced some damage in Hallsville based on the reports that we're getting of some trees coming down. Whether that was from wind or from a tornado potentially touching down, we don't know yet. We'll have to wait and see. And if the National Weather Service feels that it was possible, they will survey that damage. To the west of Eastville, to the northwest, rather, near Hereford, Hatton, let's get you to your safe location now. Low-level interior room away from windows. That's where we want you to be as we track this storm that continues to rotate. And with this, we have the red that's moving away from the radar. Green is moving towards the radar. And with that, the circulation that we're watching right over Hereford and State Road 00 at this point. This is north of I-70. So we have I-70 going through Lindbergh, Earl, Eastville, just to kind of help us get our bearings. We're looking at the rotation right now near Hereford, and that's what we're continuing to monitor at this moment. It has become a little more broad. NOAA has put a nice circle to help us indicate that, and it looks like the signature has become more messy with that latest scan, pushing to the southeast near Hereford again. So we'll continue to monitor where this is headed. But Callaway, folks, I need you to get to your safe location. Fulton, folks, let's go ahead and get you to your safe location as well. You're in the path of this storm if it does hold together. Looks like the National Weather Service also updating the severe thunderstorm warning. That includes eastern parts of Boone County into Callaway County, southern parts of Audrain County here. And it looks like they are going to probably continue that. Looks like we are dragging in the new track here. Let's pass along. The Holt Summit Tornado Shelter is open. That is according to the emergency manager of Holt Summit. Again, the Holt Summit Tornado Shelter is open if you need a place to seek shelter. Of course, if you have a basement in your home, that is a much better place to be. You don't really want to get out and travel, but this is a good option for folks that may not have a place to shelter in their homes. Again, Holt Summit Tornado Shelter is now open according to the city's emergency manager. We do have a report from another emergency manager for the state of Missouri in western Boone County of some strong winds that came through. And we have other reports of damage that have come in through Hallsville that we're continuing to monitor at this moment. We do have a crew on the way to Hallsville, so we will bring you any information that we can later on KOMU 8 News at 10. At this point, I fully expect us to stay on the air until the beginning of our 10 p.m. newscast. With the severe thunderstorm warning that was just continued, the National Weather Service says that it continues the severe thunderstorm warning until 10:15. It's still moving southeast at 40 miles per hour. This is the track of it. And with this, the potential of 70 mile per hour wind gusts. More than enough to cause damage in terms of trees and power lines. A Vaz 950, that's right now. If you're watching us on any kind of stream, whether that's on KOMU.com, through YouTube TV, Hulu Live, any of those streaming services, you're getting us at about a 1 to 2 minute delay. That's just an artifact of the process of how the signal gets to you. That's how it is for all TV stations. We cannot control that. If you're watching us over the air via an antenna, you're getting us with about a 5 to 10 second delay. So those are kind of the differences in the world of how TV works and how our signal gets to your home. So folks, just be advised if you're watching on a Hulu Live or a YouTube TV live stream, you may be getting us 1 or 2 minutes delayed. So really pay attention to the times that we're looking at. 10 o'clock for Fulton, McCready, 953. This is the track for the potential of 60 to 70 mile per hour wind gusts. Pitcher at 10:09, Hands Prairie at 10:10, Browns Ford at 10:14, Reform at 10:18, Mocaine at 10:21, Saint Albert at 10:24, and 10:27 in Chamois. Again, for any folks that might need it, the Holt Summit Tornado Shelter is open. I think this storm will stay to the north of Holt Summit, but if you are wanting a place to seek shelter, I fully recommend taking advantage of that if you feel that it is needed. Severe thunderstorm watch remains in effect for much of the area until 1 a.m. now that we have seen these storms continue to hold their strength and push together. That's something we continue to monitor. So thank you to everyone that has passed along reports. Again, we have a crew on the way to Hallsville. We'll bring you any updates as we have them. We continue to watch rotation with this storm nearing Earl. This is getting very close to Callaway and McCready. Callaway and McCready, let's get you to that safe location now. You've got minutes to act. Sturdy shoes, low level, interior room, away from windows. You want as many walls between you and the outside of the storm. If you have a basement, that is the best place to be. It does not matter what corner of the basement you're going to be in. There were some old wives' tales back in the day that you had to be in a certain corner of your home. That's not the case. You want to get to the lowest level of your home, the most interior room away from windows. That is the safe place to be. Near Eastville, Lindbergh, Harrisburg, Callaway, you are in the line. McCready and Callaway along Highway 54, that is where we're watching this rotation to track. The good news is, in the latest velocity scan, I hope we keep this up, this has become much more broad. That's what we want to see. We want to continue to see this having broad rotation, because the more broad that becomes, the less likely it is to produce a tornado. As we continue to monitor this, I believe this tornado warning that is for parts of Callaway County goes until 10:15. Let me double check the timing of that, but I believe 10:15 is what we have here for the tornado warning. 22 minutes, so that would be until 10:15. I also have a report from our weathercaster, Micah Stevens. He was out kind of chasing some of these storms earlier today. Reports of bad damage in Hallsville. There are a lot of tree branches down that are in some of the roadways. So that's something we continue to monitor. So again, we continue to monitor this tornado warned storm. Here's the track of the rotation that we're watching. Again, Callaway, you are in the path of this. Kingdom City, you're in the path of this as well. Let's get you to your lowest level of your home, an interior room away from windows. Again, that's where Highway 54 meets I-70. Let's go ahead and take action right now so that we can track this. Looking at the bigger picture here, we do have thunderstorms. We actually do have some pictures now from Micah Stevens that we are going to continue to monitor. If we could take that full just to kind of get us an idea. Okay, these are storms earlier today when they were in Huntsville along the leading edge. That's what we call a shelf cloud. So that's from a couple of hours ago. 8:30 p.m. So let's go ahead and go back to what we're tracking now. Some great images coming in there that we are monitoring. Noah, do we have him on a microphone? If not, let's get him one so he can help us continue our coverage here. What we're watching is these thunderstorms that are continuing to move through the region. In Callaway County, we have this tornado warning. We also have severe thunderstorm warnings extending through Cooper, Howard County, and to southern parts of Sheraton County. We've been talking about Sheraton County since 8 o'clock. That's where we have the warning information. And then we also have northern parts of Saline County as well that are still in this severe thunderstorm warning. Getting more reports that are coming in from Micah. I'm actually texting with him right now. It's right along Route B coming into town. David, if you're in the booth and you can help direct our crew there, that would be very helpful. I'm also going to send you, David, Micah's contact information, so maybe he can meet up with our our news team and help them along. If we can connect them, kind of help them where they need to go. I've just sent that over. So what we're watching now is this thunderstorm continues to be strong to severe. We're approaching 9:55. If you're just joining us, maybe getting ready to tune in to the 10 o'clock news, we're monitoring severe thunderstorms that have been moving through mid-Missouri. Those thunderstorms have been strong to severe this afternoon and evening. As they've pushed south, they've become a little more isolated, but they have held together pretty firmly. And as these storms have held together, they have produced some rotation at times across the region. With that rotation, we've seen some tornado warnings. No reports yet of any confirmed tornadoes, but we do have reports of damage across the region. I'm going to send things over to our meteorologist, Noah Simmons. Noah, if you could pick us up for a minute while I grab a drink of water.
Yep, thanks, Matt. So the tornado warning right now into parts of Callaway County. It's for radar indicated rotation, so there's no tornado on the ground. What you're looking at is velocity, and Matt's kind of alluded to this earlier, but it's more broad rotation, which is definitely better than maybe what we saw 10 minutes ago, where we saw a little bit stronger rotation. Right now, though, according to the National Weather Service, these thunderstorms have a history of producing close to 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts, and that's more than enough to bring a few trees down. So definitely stay indoors, away from windows. Obviously, you should be in your basement, too, with this tornado warning. But anybody in the severe thunderstorm warning, stretching from about New Bloomfield north into portions of northeast Callaway County, you're all under that severe thunderstorm warning, and that has the potential with those 60, 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts. So definitely keep taking these seriously. The tornado warning is radar indicated rotation. Luckily, the rotation isn't as strong right now with the latest scan. The rotation just crossed I-70 just about within the last 5 minutes to the south. So we could maybe be seeing some reports from any drivers on Interstate 70. Hopefully everybody's good. I think this is also a good reminder to make sure that if you are on the interstate, it's usually a bad idea to stay underneath an overpass as these storms are moving in. And I think Matt could probably attest to that as well.
Yeah, and that's actually a really good point. That's a really good point that you bring up, Noah. And with that, it actually relates to the weather IQ question of the day. We were talking about why wind accelerates between buildings. It is compressed, and the same thing happens with an overpass. In that space, winds are compressed, and that causes them to accelerate. So in fact, the best place you can be is inside a sturdy building. The worst place you can be is underneath a bridge or an overpass. We are getting updates on this tornado warning. It looks like they're shaving it down here a little bit. So those areas that we were talking near Hereford, if we could zoom into some of these just to remind me of the town names, back out a little bit if we could. Hereford, Lindbergh, Concord, you're all free from the warning now. Eastville, from McCready to Callaway to Fulton, that's where we have this tornado warning continuing. As we've kind of mentioned here over the last couple of minutes, this has become more broad in nature. That's good news, but even if there isn't a tornado here, we still have the potential of 60 to 70 mile per hour wind gusts within this storm. The area is pretty co-located as well, near Eastville to the south side. So this is going to be moving into Callaway very, very shortly, crossing Highway 54. So it just crossed I-70. It's going to be crossing Highway 54 very, very shortly. As this continues to move to the southeast, Fulton is in the path of this storm. So if you are just now joining us, it is 9:59. You would normally be seeing us for the top of our 10 o'clock broadcast right now. What you are watching is live continuing coverage of a tornado warning in Callaway County. And with this, it is time to take action if you have not taken it in Fulton. Let's go ahead and move to the lowest level of our home, an interior room away from windows. A basement is by far the best place to be, or a storm shelter. If you do not have a basement, the lowest level of your home in an interior room. We're talking bathrooms, closet. You want to be away from windows, and you want as many walls between you and the storm itself. So what we're watching here with this storm is timing within the next 10 to 15 minutes. This rotation, if it continues to hold together, which it has so far, will be nearing the Fulton area. So again, now is the time to act. If you have friends or family in Fulton, let's go ahead and move them to that safe location. Give them a text, give them a phone call, make sure they're paying attention. We are reaching that time of the night where people may be asleep, so we want them to take the best course of action at this moment, and that best course of action is getting to that safe shelter. With the latest reflectivity, we are seeing the rotation here in the central part of the storm, and the potential maybe for a little bit of hail up to about quarter size. Lots of lightning illuminating the scene as well that we continue to monitor and that we are going to continue to follow. We also have lots of reports of trees down in Hallsville. Those reports of trees down were right along Route B as you come into town. We also have a lot of power outages associated with that. When trees start coming down, so do power lines. We have about 1,100 people without power now in Boone County as a result of these storms. So again, whether or not that's from a tornado, whether or not that's from just the damaging winds that we saw move through with this storm, that's kind of irrelevant at the moment. But what we are watching is this complex of thunderstorms. If we could zoom out just a little bit further here, just to show folks that may just now be joining us how thin of a line this is. Moberly, Paris, Macon, you're in the all clear for the rest of the night. Your severe threat is over. Folks from Jefferson City to Osage Beach, I think these storms are going to be weakening a lot more as they continue to push to the south, but we're still going to be on alert here. A severe thunderstorm watch continues to about Highway 50 until 1 a.m. tonight. Of course, I'm here tonight until the severe threat ends, whether that's in an hour, whether that's in 5 hours. I'll be here tracking these storms and cutting into programming as needed. Here's that severe thunderstorm watch that goes until 1 a.m. It includes Boone, Callaway, Montgomery, Gasconade, Osage, Cole, Montauk, Cooper, Howard, Randolph, Sheraton, Saline, in Pettis County until 1 a.m. The Lake of the Ozarks area, not included at this time. Notice that Macon and Monroe County, you've already been removed from the severe thunderstorm watch. So that's good news. On the western side of this, for Howard, Cooper County into Saline County, we have a severe thunderstorm warning. With this, some strong winds up to about 60 miles per hour. Also quarter to $half size hail possible. This is really becoming less of a big hail threat like it was in northern Missouri earlier today and becoming more of a threat for the wind, and that's what we're seeing right now with this severe warned storm and this tornado warned storm in Callaway County. Let's go back to that as it is our big focus right now. Fulton, if you have not gotten to your shelter, now is the absolute time to be doing that. Lowest level of your home, interior room away from windows, as many walls between you and the storm. This is knocking on your doorstep. The rotation between Callaway and Fulton right now, getting ready to cross Highway 54 and State Road Z. So Callaway, Fulton, Pitcher, let's get you to that low level of your home. This is the time to take action, because if this storm were to produce a tornado, it would likely do so very quickly. It likely would not be on the ground for very long, but what would likely happen is that it would touch down very quickly. This is a situation that could evolve very quickly. Now, the signs, all things considered, that we've seen via radar have been of this starting to become a little more broad. That fits the profile for this type of storm. That's what we should be seeing. That's what we're starting to see at this moment. And thankfully, what we're seeing with our debris detection is nothing. All the particles that the radar is seeing look pretty similar. That's good, because we don't want the radar to start seeing different particles, different types of objects, because that would be an indication of debris getting lofted into the storm. And we're not, I repeat, we are not seeing that at this point in time. But what we are watching is broad rotation, broadening rotation, getting ready to cross Highway 54 between Fulton and Callaway. This is still an actionable time. If you are in any kind of apartment building, getting lowest and to the center is where you want to be as well. So there are different options for those that may be seeking shelter. We'll continue to watch these storms. We also need to watch for the potential of some localized flash flooding. That's not going to be a big issue. I don't think a lot of us are going to see flash flooding, but localized certainly in areas that get in on these storms. Just to the west of Fulton, where we have this pink shading, that is where we do have the potential for up to quarter-size hail. And along the leading edge of this line, the potential for those 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts. Instead of storm relative velocity, could we just look at the velocity image to kind of get a picture of some of the wind? And that's certainly moving into Fulton. So where we have these brighter reds just to the west of Fulton, that's where we see the potential for some winds that are gusting up to 60 to 70 miles per hour. And that's what we're watching very closely with this thunderstorm as the rotation continues to weaken. Let's switch back to storm relative velocity and see that there is still broad rotation here, but undeniably over the last 5 minutes or so, this has become more broad in nature and what we continue to watch. But we continue to watch for strong winds getting ready to move into Fulton and some broad rotation as well. And this storm, regardless of if it's wind damage or tornado damage, which we will not know for a while, is capable of producing wind gusts of up to 70 miles per hour, and it does have a history of producing damage in Hallsville. So we are continuing to watch this. Again, that damage was right off of Route B. I do have a report from Emergency Management in Callaway County. Rotation confirmed by deputies at 54 and HH a few minutes ago. So again, that's going to be right here. And while it is becoming more broad, it is rotating. So again, that continues to justify the need for this tornado warning that has been issued across a good chunk of Callaway County, moving into Fulton at this exact moment. We continue to monitor reports of damage. Again, that's from Hallsville. Some trees are down. This is the storm that did that. A new severe thunderstorm warning also just issued downstream. And with that, Callaway and Osage County are in the severe thunderstorm warning. The National Weather Service has went with 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, as well as hail smaller than a quarter. So again, as we've been talking about over the last 30 to 45 minutes or so, these storms are becoming less and less a hail concern and more of this wind concern, plus the occasional spin-up tornado. Meteorologist Noah Simmons with me, putting a storm track on this, moving to the southeast. Here's the timeline that we're looking at here. New Bloomfield at 10:08, Dixie at 10:13, Mocaine at 10:25, St. Aubert at 10:28, Chamois at 10:30, Loose Creek at 10:39, Mint Hill at 10:47. If this continues to hold together, it would be near Lynn at 10:50. I've